Hey, yo, first and foremost, shout out to Lamont Roach and Tank. That was a great fight. I enjoyed it. But, yo, I'm making this video because for the whole build-up, y'all were killing me over my victory over Lamont, saying that he wasn't worthy of the Tank fight. But at the end of the day, I don't care what y'all say. I got that W. That's all I'm saying. I got the W.
The boxing world has reacted to the intense fight between Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach. Here are the most insane reactions from the fight. Lamont Roach is no stranger to Gervonta Davis. The two clashed in the amateur ranks, forging a history that adds another layer to their recent showdown. Roach's father and trainer, Lamont Roach Sr., has watched Davis evolve into a boxing superstar. But past familiarity held no weight in the lead-up to this fight. Tensions were high, and the atmosphere crackled with intensity. "My mindset is to beat his ass," Roach told Boxing Scene before the fight. Roach claimed his title in November 2023, defeating Hector Luis Garcia on the undercard of David Benavidez's triumph over Demetrius Andrade. He successfully defended it once against Virgil McCrory on Pro Box TV before securing a career-defining showdown with Davis, one of the biggest opportunities a boxer could seize. "This camp is different because I feel like they are counting me out," said Roach. The 29-year-old's eager anticipation came in response to Terence Crawford's candid remarks. The former undisputed champion asserted that, given the current boxing landscape, only his close friend Shakur Stevenson and stablemate Keyshawn Davis, who recently secured a spot among the lightweight division's elite, possess the skill to hand Gervonta Davis a significant defeat. Davis has built a reputation as a relentless finisher, forcing opponents into retreat with his power. His previous outing saw him stop Frank Martin in his sole 2024 fight, following a knockout victory over Ryan Garcia the previous year. Lamont Roach Jr. appeared to be staring down an insurmountable challenge, but so did Muhammad Ali when he stepped into the ring against George Foreman in Kinshasa. What followed became the stuff of legend, etching the Rumble in the Jungle into the annals of history. Kicking off with the classic line, "Roses are red, violets are blue," Lamont Roach wasted no time getting to the point. On March 1st, the world may have witnessed the rise of a new WBA lightweight champion. "Roses are red, violets are blue. March 1st sounds like and the new," he said. This fight went beyond a routine title defense for Davis or just another challenge for Roach. It was deeply personal. Their rivalry traces back to 2011, when Davis bested Roach twice as an amateur. Now, over a decade later, Roach was hungry for redemption and wasn't afraid to say it. But if there was one thing Davis won't do, it's back down, especially when the trash talk starts flying. The moment Roach Jr. spoke up, Davis was right there to answer. "Roses are red, violets are blue. March 1st sounds like a don't worry, baby. You'll be home soon from the hospital," Davis fired back. It didn't take long for fans to flood in with their reactions. From enthusiastic approval to outright dismissal, one thing was certain: they were relishing the playful back and forth. Before the fight, Terence Crawford might have thrown a wrench in the buildup. Alongside Shakur Stevenson and several others rallying behind Keyshawn Davis, Crawford engaged with a swarm of reporters. With the businessman, now crowned the WBO lightweight champion, the prospect of a showdown with Gervonta Davis has swiftly transitioned from speculation to possibility. A reporter inquired about the prospects of an upcoming title unification. Terence Crawford simply shrugged and replied, "Whoever," before adding that Gervonta Davis is well aware of the challenges ahead. He knows what he's up against when he fights Shakur or Keyshawn, Crawford stated. The familiar criticism of Gervonta "Tank" Davis resurfaced once again. Like many others, Crawford pointed out that Davis has been squaring off against opponents who hardly measure up to his skill level. They might have a little skill here and there, but mentally wise, they're not going to be able to keep it up that whole fight, he said. So, was Lamont Roach Jr. on the anonymous list? Crawford undoubtedly left out the Reaper's name as one of the people who will ultimately let Tank Davis to taste the bitterness of defeat. Them two guys, Shakur and Keyshawn, right there, you know what I mean, is going to be the ones that, give Tank his first defeat, the Nebraskan concluded.
When I said it on Twitter, it went viral when I said the top 5 thing. A lot of people agreed, a lot of people disagreed. Tank said I was a meat lover. He came in, he was like, "Oh, this guy, you a meat lover."
But Tank would never even think about hesitating to come up to 154.
All right, what about 47 though?
Yes, if he get to pick his opponent. If Tank get to pick his opponent, he would do it. But Tank would never come from 35 to 54.
Former champion Mikey Garcia, in an interview with Fight Hub TV, weighed in on the showdown between Gervonta and Lamont Roach. While discussing the matchup, Garcia also revealed why the idea of Davis eventually facing Shakur Stevenson doesn't spark much enthusiasm for him. Despite that, a potential lightweight unification clash between Davis and Stevenson remains one of the most unpredictable and intriguing bouts in the sport. Garcia said before the fight, "I think Tank is one of the very best fighters, definitely in the lightweight division. I don't think Roach would be a huge threat for Tank. Tank is very talented, very skilled, and also very experienced at this point now. He's fought and seen pretty much every style there is, and his power is tremendous, where he has that knockout punching power and he has the confidence to do it. He further added, "It's hard to go against Tank. Again, not to disrespect his opponent Roach, but I think Tank is a beast, and he's been proving it every fight, and he probably will win this fight as well." Stevenson is the epitome of the hit and don't get hit philosophy, effortlessly weaving together movement, defense, and speed to dominate his opponents and cruise to decisive victories. Though his recent performances have drawn some criticism for not being the most thrilling, he remains confident that when the stakes are highest, he'll rise to the occasion and deliver his best. Mikey Garcia said, "I'm actually not a very big fan of that fight. Now, I do believe Shakur Stevenson is a great fighter as well. He's got the skills, he's got the talent. Great boxer, super talented with footwork, with speed, reflexes, counter-punching ability. He's one of the very best, but I'm not a fan of that fight because Shakur Stevenson is the kind of fighter that he's going to fight his fight regardless of what the critics, the fans, or anybody want to see. Winning is winning for him." Garcia further stated that as a fight fan, this approach did not appeal to him. While he respected Stevenson's skills as a fighter and gave him full credit for his abilities, he personally preferred to see other matchups. He expressed a preference for a fight between Tank and Lomachenko, as he believed Lomachenko, despite having great footwork, speed, and reflexes, was more inclined to engage in an actual fight. He said, "Shakur Stevenson's going to be a dull, not as exciting of a matchup, and I think that's why he's going to have a tough time getting some of these big fights. Until he turns his style a bit and shows up a little more. Maybe then he'll get some of these fights, but until then, I don't think Tank fights him or anybody that's a serious threat." Shakur, again, great fighter as far as skills, but not a great fighter for the fans. Enter Tank Davis, a knockout artist whose fights rarely see the final bell. Hailing from Baltimore, he's built a reputation for delivering jaw-dropping finishes with a highlight reel that rivals the sport's best. Whispers from the gym suggest he's not just overwhelming opponents in the ring, but also leaving much heavier sparring partners battered behind closed doors. Meanwhile, veteran boxing commentator Jim Lampley predicted before the fight that Gervonta Davis would secure his 31st career win and his 29th knockout against Lamont Roach Jr. Lampley said, "Lamont Roach has done his best to portray optimism. He has pointed out that he saw Davis in the amateur ranks and is already familiar with the 135-pound champion's precision power style. He has underlined his motivation to begin fulfilling his dreams of building a legend. He has observed the money-making platform that would ensue from an upset win." He added, "But what he has yet to do is to present a convincing outline for how he can solve a puzzle that has produced a lengthy series of spectacularly violent knockouts and made Tank Davis one of the biggest and most upwardly mobile names in boxing." Crawford undoubtedly left out the Reaper's name as one of the people who will ultimately let Tank Davis to taste the bitterness of defeat. Lampley said, "Even if Tank did not possess his shocking punching power, he would be an elite lightweight on the basis of his crafty boxing, southpaw-style advantage, clever footwork, and visible killer instinct. But it is pure power that really sets him apart. He doesn't just beat his opponents, he annihilates them in breathtaking, often scary fashion." He added, "Like a career predator, he approaches his kills patiently, behaving like a counterpuncher, and then suddenly explodes into irrepressible violence to produce sudden finishes. His knockouts are picturesque, not unlike what we saw from Mike Tyson in the developmental stage of his career. Davis is now well beyond the developmental stage, but he is still outclassing shocked opponents." Although Roach claimed that he had improved, Lampley believed that this Saturday's result was still obvious. Lampley said, "Roach has a quality background and is a highly competent boxer. But when I asked the most experienced boxing writer, I know what chance he gave to Roach in this fight, the answer was, the same chance I give to a caterpillar crawling in the way of a steamroller." Davis by middle round rescue TKO. Onward to potential matchups with Lomachenko, Shakur Stevenson, and or Keyshawn Davis, any of whom would have a better chance than Roach. Meanwhile, Bernard Hopkins shared his thoughts on the Davis versus Roach showdown during an interview with Michelle Joy Phelps of Fight Hub TV. Hopkins didn't hesitate to weigh in on the matchup. He said, "Tank Davis to me, he's going to give anybody problems. The burden is on Roach or anybody else. In this case, it is Roach. The burden is on him." Earlier this summer, Roach was first called up by the sanctioning authority to compete against interim titleist Albert Batargaziev. Regardless, Hopkins warned Davis, "Anything can happen in this world of boxing," noting, "Both guys need to come in the way they need to come in." Hopkins also believed that Davis shouldn't ignore Roach. Tank cannot underestimate Roach. Roach is a real good fighter, boxer, and puncher. And he had some confidence from the amateur. Hopkins told Michelle Joy Phelps. Lamont Roach, meanwhile, revealed the circumstances surrounding his fight with Davis. Roach agreed at the time, but since he wasn't yet a champion, the fight didn't go through, and the PBC ended up choosing Hector Luis Garcia. Gervonta Davis appeared to have Bernard Hopkins in his corner, but B-Hop wasn't letting him get too comfortable. He issued a warning about Roach's skills. So that's all from today's video. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so you never miss our upcoming videos.